What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. So today we are going to be building the new Airfix 1/72 scale firefly. I started by clipping off the main tub of the sprue. You have to assemble it with the sidewalls, the transmission casing, the rear engine and the floor. You have two choices of the road wheels at which you want to do. So the first choice is for if you're doing a beginner's starter set, so they already come assembled. And the second choice is where you have to assemble the running gear yourself. This is what it would be like if you wanted to do the starter set. I opted to go for the way you had to do the link and length tracks and assemble the running gear yourself. I find this is a bit harder, but it really pays off in the quality. I started by cleaning up the parts. I used a sanding stick of 240 grit, and then I used Humbrol liquid cement. So now you are meant to attach the tracks. I didn't do this at this stage because I thought it would be a lot easier to paint. There were lots and lots of lovely detail, like headlamps and brackets. This is a better quality kit than the old Sherman, which Airfix did. The old one was made in the 1960s, I believe, late 1960s. And this one was only tooled last year, so in 2020. So it's a massive step up in quality. The Sherman Firefly was a version of the normal Sherman, which had a standard 75mm gun. So the British put a 17-pounder in it to combat the Tigers and Panthers and the later Panzer IVs that we were fighting in Germany. Here it is after I've put on the Humbrol 155 olive drab and also on the tracks. The tracks were really fiddly to put on, but that might be because I snapped the rear idler wheel. Now I'm putting on the stowage. This consisted of a jerry can, some ammo crates, and also some spare track links and wheels. I'm going to add a 50 caliber machine gun from an old Willis Jeep that I got, and also some crates and boxes. The Sherman Firefly was a tank used by the United Kingdom and some Commonwealth and Allied armoured formations in the Second World War. It was based on the US M4 Sherman, but fitted with a powerful 3-inch 76.2 caliber British 17-pounder gun as its main weapon. Originally conceived as a stopgap until future British tank designs came into service, the Sherman Firefly became the most common vehicle mounting the 17-pounder in the war. During the war, the British Army made extensive use of Sherman tanks. Though they expected to have their own tank models developed soon, the previous rejected idea of mounting a 17-pounder in the existing Sherman was eventually accepted. And despite initial government resistance, this proved fortunate as both the Challenger cruiser tank and the Cromwell cruiser tank designs experienced difficulties and delays. After the difficult problem of getting such a large gun to fit in the Sherman's turret, the Firefly was introduced in early 1944. In time to equip Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery in Montgomery's 21st Army Group for the Normandy landings. It soon became highly valued as its gun could almost penetrate the armour of the Panther and Tiger tanks it faced in Normandy. Sometime no other British faced in Normandy something no other British Army tank could reliably do at that time. In recognition of German tank and anti-tank gun crews were instructed to attack Fireflies first. Because the Firefly had a visibly longer barrel, crews tried to camouflage it so it would look like a normal 75mm Sherman from a distance. Between 2,100 and 2,200 were manufactured before production was wound down in 1945. When I went to Bovington last year, I was fortunate enough to get a couple of pictures of the Sherman Firefly. The decals were very nicely printed and went on very well. I initially did a satin coat and then put some Humbrol decal fix. Now to make it look like War Thunder's Firefly, I added some applique track armour. Fireflies were usually under-armoured, so the crews added some extra track armour to actually give them a fighting chance. If you saw my review on this kit in my channel, you know I told you that I love extra things on the tank. I applied the whole model with a coat of Citadel non-oil. Before this, I gloss coated it to protect the decals from the weathering stage. I then wiped away this extra wash with some Tamiya X20A acrylic thinners. Since this is an acrylic wash, I can wash it away with some acrylic thinners, though if it were to be an enamel wash, I would have to use enamel thinners. To add a bit more interest to the model, I decided to add a diorama base. Here are the things that I used for the diorama. Some plaster cloth from Woodland Scenics, Ammo Mig Mud, Humbrol 29 Dark Earth, some Humbrol 8 brush, some toothpicks, and a piece of cardboard. Here is a really easy way to make a diorama for just about £15. I started by marking out the areas that I would want to make the road and the sides. Then I built up the sides with some cardboard. I layered it up. You can layer it up as high as you want, though I only layered it up about 3 pieces. Next I applied the cloth. This will give a smoother texture for the mud to stick to. Next I applied the dark earth. I applied this with a Humbrol 8 brush, as it's quite a large surface area. Although I like to use Humbrol 29, other people like to use cheap artist acrylic paints. Now I'm applying the mud texture. I applied it with an old brush as it ruins your brushes. After a second coat of the mud texture, I decided to add an old Willis Jeep that I built quite a long time ago, and I didn't really make a good job on it, so I mounted it on its side and took off its wheel to make it look as though it had been hit by a landmine. I forgot to show you, but I also used Citadel Midland Earth Tufts. I also decided to add a wooden fence out of the toothpicks I showed you earlier. So, that's as far as I went with my Airfix 1/72 scale Sherman 5C. So, what do I think? Well, it's a very nice kit with lovely detail, and it's a massive step up in quality from Airfix, like I said in my review. I like the inclusion that you can build the track sets with 2 options, either build them as one piece or you can assemble them yourself. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.